Hello, welcome to Mining Now. We have a guest who has been on the show before. Their company has been featured before, Inland Tarp Liner. We've got William Powell. He is the Director of Business Development. I'm your host, Jared Downey. We're filming these episodes with guests at SME in Phoenix, Arizona. This is all part of our North American mining tour. And we also have an Australian mining tour. So we cover a lot of ground. A lot of mining talk. William, welcome back. I don't think you were on Mining Now last time, right?
No, I wasn't. No, not for mining applications.
So that's going to be the focus of this one. But let's first welcome back to the show. Give us a little bit of just who Inland is, just bird's eye view for anybody who didn't see the other episode.
Yeah, so thank you again for having us. Really appreciate it. We're excited to be here at the Mining Expo and showcasing RCR. So a little bit about what we do at Inland Tarp Liner is we are traditionally a plastics company, so we do fabrication for large-scale LLDPE and HDPE products as well as coated wovens. But in 2019, we decided to introduce the material ITL RCR, which is a GCCM. And since then, we have found that the material has taken off in several markets, one of which being mining, as well as oil and gas and agriculture. So we service a very large amount of customers and a large amount of industries throughout the United States and internationally.
The product is so interesting. The fun fact, my mother was telling me about the product. This is an episode that she happened
Okay.
to watch, and she thought it was interesting.
Yeah, she thought it was interesting. That's good to hear.
So that was very random because she doesn't really ever talk about the show, but for some reason she clicked on that one and thought it was interesting. We were talking
There you
about all the
go.
culverts and stuff like that. So what I would like to do is can we just go back to the product's quite unique. So how does it actually work? Like when I like this image in the background, it reminds me of back in the day, I used to do decking, and we had a little torch, you'd
hmm
roll out the decking, you torch it together. But it doesn't stop there. This you actually add water to it, and then it cures. And I don't know if I've got that right, but can you just sort of walk us through how the actual
Yeah.
works?
Yeah, no, I can definitely help you out with that. So this is just kind of a piece of our material here, if you can see. Top layer is a geosynthetic, bottom layer is a geosynthetic. Middle portion is a concrete dry powdered with a quick rising additive. And then what we do is we actually needle punch from both directions. And what that does is it creates micro pockets for all of the for the concrete mixture to rest in. And we create a blanket that's pliable. These blankets come on a roll. It's 16 feet wide by 64 feet long, so you can cover a very large amount of square footage pretty rapidly. And then as far as hydration goes, you set this down. Site preparation and subgrade preparation are key in order to make it look smooth. You'll roll it out, and then you can adhere it to itself using a fusion torch. We actually have a video of it running right now.
Yeah.
Where you'll hit both sides, and that's how you create a watertight seal. And then finally, when you get everything set and everything's in the positioning that you want it, you'll go ahead and hydrate it at half a gallon of water per square foot. You can use salt water, fresh water, really any sort of water. It just you can't overhydrate the material, but you can underhydrate it. So we always emphasize and we make sure we have people on site to assist with that. And then it hardens in 24 hours.
The 24 hours. It's quite an amazing thing, actually.
Mhm.
What was the first markets? I mean, now obviously we're talking about mining. We're going to get into all that, but what was sort of the first markets that you entered with it?
The municipality sector, there's been a lot of means for them to cut on maintenance or maintenance cost savings. So everybody's trying to budget for how much they think they're going to, pay for in a year, and little things here and there like vegetation, as well as any sort of runoff improvement ditches that need to be done. So we've seen it being used in municipality sectors, state level governments, culvert linings, and then now oil and gas as well as the mining industry.
How long is it? How long did it? How has it been actually on the market, like available to?
So, so for us, it's been we introduced it to the market in 2019. But GCCMs as a whole, which is what this product falls underneath for ASTM guidance and standards, they've been around for upwards of 10 years, 10 plus years in the United States.
What is GGCM?
GCCM.
Oh, sorry, GCCM.
Yeah, that is correct.
What is that? What does that stand for? What is that?
So GCCM is geosynthetic cementitious composite mat. That's what essentially the standard is, and it's what our product falls underneath. So we have our slope angle friction testing done. We have our tensile strength testing currently in progress, flow rate in progress as well. So it's just kind of the overlying guidance and governing body of these types of materials to make sure they're all equal.
How long? So in 2019, so that's how long the integrity of it, how long is it sort of set to last if you're putting it in, like, let's say culvert, or like you're saying plant control or slope control?
Yeah, so right now, our company warranties the material for 30 years, so
Oh.
you can definitely expect no less than 30, though I believe it will go longer. Our company stands behind it for a 30-year period.
And now, specific to mining, what have you worked in? What are you looking to? Where are the areas that you're trying to get into?
So just right off the bat, because it's so important, we are MSHA certified. So that's a pretty big thing right out the gate. When this product was actually introduced, Leo Cortez, who's our product manager or engineer, that was one of the first certifications that we got to make sure that it would be able to go into the mine, underground. It can be stored above ground, and it can be utilized by those that are certified. So that's a pretty big thing. But as far as applications go, tailing ponds, concrete pads, and then just standard erosion control and water management. So places where you'd have giant flumes or chutes where large amounts of water runoff would be coming, this would be a great way to permanently armor that subgrade.
Let's talk about our Heavy Industry World Tour, brought to you by Savannah Equipment, supplying mining equipment worldwide. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsman.com to be part of Crownsman's Heavy Industry World Tour. Did you know cementitious binders can be responsible for up to 70% of the total GHG footprint of mine backfilling processes? Now you can replace up to 50% of the binder in your mine backfill operations with Graybond, Graymond's new low-carbon cementitious binder. This lime-based alternative binder maintains a 40 to 70% lower GHG footprint compared to typical cement and can adapt to varying mine conditions without compromising performance. Learn more about Graybond at graybond.com. Use drone data to map, measure, and manage your work sites with survey-grade accuracy. Propeller transforms your photogrammetry and LiDAR surveys into a realistic, interactive 3D map. That map is where collaboration happens and accuracy wins every time. It's a cloud-based workspace for project teams to measure and manage their reality in real time from any device. With survey data, designs, measurements, and media in one place, the right data is always ready to go. It's time to replace rework with great work and make great work the status quo. Visit propelleraero.com to learn more.
Now, in some of these, they're not using cement. Some of them they are. But are you seeing both applications where it's, well, let's actually go through a couple. Let's say you've already lined one, but now that's maybe wearing away. Would they use this to reline it, like similar to the episode we did with the culvert? They actually the culvert's already there, and then you put it in the culvert to help.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect example of, like, let's say you have a flume, for instance, that's deteriorating because it's just standard non-reinforced 4-inch concrete. Rather than going in and taking all the old concrete out and regrading, and that takes a lot of time. That could be upwards of 2 weeks just for demo and haul off, as well as site conditions. So what you could do is you could go in with this material and you could actually go over the top of an existing concrete structure, and you can tie it in using batten strips or an anchor trench or something like that. And then you'd hydrate it and it will conform to that existing channel.
Oh, you're actually anchoring it down. In some cases, you might actually anchor it down to the
directly into the concrete. Yes.
Right. And then what about structures that maybe, like you mentioned, different grades of slopes and that? Are you seeing it getting added to that?
Yeah, really anywhere you see any sort of like riprap or like rock erosion control, like, large, confined pointed rock that you'll put on like bridge easements or for this, any sort of slope going all the way up to one-to-ones. This is a great way to hard armor that slope against sheet flow. So any sort of downward water runoff that's happening from the top of the plant.
what are some of the questions people have in the mining sector? When you're I mean, do people quickly understand where it could be applicable, or is there a lot of education that goes into kind of getting it into even into the specs of something that they'll use?
I just think it's all about just identifying the pain point for each individual. I don't think that there's a blanket application for RCR yet in the mining industry. Yeah, right now people are using it for all different types of things, but the most common thing that we're seeing is for erosion control and water control.
Are people like I see that one picture, it almost looks, I don't know if that's a ditch behind you, and then there's
Which one?
the one there, it's there's a slope, and then there's like an actual like channel, the
This
one,
one?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's a bar ditch, just classic roadside runoff. Super typical in any sort of municipal setting or water management group. They're constantly maintaining those, and then also not noted on that picture is we actually went over the material with asphalt.
Well, that's my
It is fire resistant, yeah. So we didn't have enough room to be able to run that anchor trench along the side of the road, but they were redoing the road at the same time. So we just went over the material with the asphalt, and that was the transition.
right.
LiveMine is the data management solution for the digital mine, making mining operations paperless through an intuitive and easy to use app developed by mining professionals with decades of real world experience. Trusted by operators in 7 countries across the globe. Get better and more accurate data faster than ever and throw away your paper plods, PDF printouts, and shift sheets. Visit livemine.com.au to learn more. With Fender Dunlop, you know you are getting the best conveyor belting in the market. That's because they ensure the integrity of their conveyor belting by monitoring each step of the manufacturing process in their North American facilities. Focused attention is given to each belting order to guarantee that they produce a belt that will assist the customer in reducing operation costs, maximizing uptime, and improving revenue. Visit FenderDunlopAmericas.com to learn more.
So something like that channel that's behind you, that looks like it's probably an agriculture environment, maybe.
Yeah, that's that would be in an agricultural setting. That was actually in California. So largemouth, channels and irrigation ditches and things like that, where water needs to be held for a continuous period of time, especially in the rainy months.
So how would they? I don't imagine they'd be pouring concrete into that. So how they would have just used they would have just used a
Well, you'd be surprised. No, the alternative to this channel here was to do concrete.
really.
So they were going to have to form that entire channel with, they wouldn't have to use rebar, but you could. It would be the smarter move for a long-term system. But yeah, they would have to go in there and form everything up, and then they'd have to bring the trucks in and pump all the concrete. It would have taken significantly longer than the option that they went with.
Yeah, I mean, what would it take to do? I don't know how long that channel would be, but like if it's, let's say a quarter of a mile, what would it take to do something like that with your system?
Quarter of a mile. Well, just off the top of my head, I would say a good safety factor for site preparation would be 5 to 10 days for that much, that much dirt. If you're starting from zero, if you're just shaping, probably just 5 days. And then for the install of the material, you can average between 13 and 14 rolls per day.
Wow.
And that's if you're cooking. So, I mean, that's going to be about 14,000 square feet just right off the bat. So I would say probably 3 to 4 days of install.
Wow. And then
So under 2 weeks for a full closed system, plus one that you could walk away from and not have to service. That's a pretty good deal.
yeah, and concrete, I mean, that same project would be, I don't even know roughly what would that be.
I mean, as far as like cost is considered, I mean, concrete's different everywhere, so it's hard to say. It's hard to say that it's different in every state. All I can tell you is that rock is definitely not cheap. That's where we see this material being used the most, is where rock would normally be used.
Have you gotten a chance to sort of get it into the mining applications, or when were some of those first projects? I know mining is sometimes hard. There's NDAs and all that sort of stuff, but are you talk about some of the applications you actually got to put it in?
So we just got released to actually showcase this case study, which you'll be able to pull up on your end. And this was a tailings pond here in Arizona. So yeah, as far as releasing the location, I don't even know the location. This was one that Leo did, but
Yeah.
it was a really good. It's an awesome example of how we provided a turnkey solutions for our end users. So our end user was talking about essentially armoring or hard armoring in the picture here. This entire embankment that also was an emergency spillway, and the main options that they had were just concrete, but it was going to take too long, and they needed it. They could only have it drained for a certain period of time. So our design team went in, and we did an accurate takeoff for them. We showed them how many panels they were going to need. It was roughly 20 working days to do this entire project.
That just seems unbelievable.
Yeah, it was impressive. It definitely was. It was nice that we were able to use all of our added value services in conjunction with just laying the material.
Well, that's what I was going to ask next. Do you install it, or can the op?
So we don't do install. We offer engineering services, design. We actually provide on-site field assistance, which is something that I do for every one of my projects, whether it's 1 roll or 500 rolls. Leo does that as well. All of our sales staff does too. We go out there to make sure that the material is installed the right way the first time. So we think it's a very easy thing to mitigate. And that's just something that we add. But yeah, it's very user friendly when it comes to install, so we don't have to do any crazy training programs.
Where are applications where it wouldn't work? If someone's listening to this going, okay, got tailings ponds, channels, we've got banks, we've got trenches. Okay, so it's very on. There's videos of it. It's an amazing product. I don't think anybody watching will not understand that. Where are applications though where someone says, "Hey, could I use it for this?" And you go, that might not be the right spot.
Well, that's kind of the up and down thing of our nature is that I'll be the first one, and I can speak. I'm sure I'll speak for anyone else for the ITL families. We'll be the first one to tell you when this product doesn't work, when you maybe need to examine another option. We always want RCR to be the solution, but if it's not, we stand behind doing what's right for our customer base. A typical application for me would be structural. I think a lot of times, people would think that you could just put this and use it as a bridge over poor subgrade, but it's only going to perform as good as the subgrade allows it. So if you have a compaction of 30% and then you put this material over it and you drive a semi over the material, semi is going to go through the material because, again, we're not structural.
Right.
So I would say things along that nature, it's not made for that particular application. And then there's a lot it's hard to do a pros and cons list, man, because there's so many pros. So
where we've kind of talked about above ground in this episode. What about in underground mines? Have there been interest, or have you been in?
There has been. I mean, because again, we're certified to go in underground. The material itself actually comes pre-wrapped in polyethylene twice, and it has lifting straps, so it can be stored underground, and that protects it from the curing process starting prematurely. So it's very user-friendly when it comes to freights.
Where is the market? I think we talked about this on the last episode, but again, different audience. Where are you? Or is it US, Canada? Are you getting down to Latin America, Europe?
So right now for us, we kind of have our foot in the door in international space as well as here in the United States and Canada. So that is, you're going to find this material more oftenly specified, and we're continuously educating the engineering communities on it here in the United States and Canada. Calvin is our director of business development for international, so he handles everything in Canada as well as the Middle East, which we're rapidly doing more and more business in on the lining side, and so now even the RCR side too.
Again, referencing the last episode, we talked about, if I remember right, on like municipalities, you got to, the engineers, they have to get it into spec and to get it approved and that whole process. Is it very similar to mining? Who's the person that actually green lights this being used on the actual mine site?
I think that's a twofold question. I mean, especially in the mining industry, safety is priority number one.
Yeah.
So I truly believe that like the safety officer it's got to touch their hands before we even talk about using it in the mining, make sure it checks all the right boxes, which thankfully we do. So that would probably be number one. Number two would be their operations officer, or a field supervisor, someone that is continuously dealing with the problem on a daily basis. That's generally our go-to individual.
And then if at some point, this is just a random question, but for replacement, like if it would it be the same as let's say build a mine, now they put a slope and they went, okay, now there's a new layout, we got to like build a road through here. Same system, like
Okay.
concrete. It's just you just break it up the same, right?
So the good part of it is that you can just use a typical reciprocal saw or something like that, just small blade, and you could cut out the piece that you need to do, and then you could reshape it and do whatnot. But it will be hard, like a cast, at that point. So if you needed to reshape it, or you could take an old piece, or I'm sorry, a new piece of RCR, and you can actually attach it to an old piece of RCR as well.
Oh, I see. Right.
So if you need, so if they like maybe wanted to do a road through a slope or something,
Yeah.
they could cut that portion out, do the road, and then they could attach a new piece
Right.
for the terminations.
Right. It must be, I'll let you go here pretty quick here, but it must be kind of fun to be in an industry where, because this isn't really around. You kind of introduced this to the market. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I mean, so as far as, again, timeline goes, we introduced this to market in 2019. We've made some very significant strides in it, as far as being accepted on the municipal, the state level, private engineering groups. And it's all because we go out and we educate GCCMs as a whole, like we had discussed earlier, and how useful they are and how widely and popular they are in the UK and just kind of all over the place. They're starting to pop up. So
No, it's lots of fun to have you for the second time, especially to
yeah, definitely
into a very specific applications like in the mining. So has it been a busy show already for you?
Yeah, it has been busy. We busy day setting up yesterday and getting to kind of do a commingling thing, and then today's been we got the lunch crowd and we got the breakfast crowd,
Yeah.
and just we're enjoying it. We got 2 more days, or 1 more day after this.
One more. Oh, 2 more days, isn't it? Dan.
I don't know if it's 2 more days or 1 more. I'm pretty sure it's 1 more day for me, for us.
Well, either way, yeah, I hope it goes well. And then we've got 1 more episode to do. We're going to look at some different applications in that one. So thank you very much for coming back on. Yeah, and we'll do it again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. We'll see you later.
Thanks, William.
Bye.
Okay. As always, there'll be links to Inland Tarp Liners LinkedIn. I think they have a YouTube channel. Yep, they do. They have a YouTube channel. Their website. You can connect directly with William. Very interesting product, and we've got 1 more. So make sure to subscribe, follow us. Thank you everybody for watching. We will see you on the next episode of Mining Now.